All right, guys, we are going to do this today. We've got soil formation. This is going to be page 5 of your notes. Please update your table of contents so that you have page 5 of your notes on there. All right, today we're talking about soil. We are talking about dirt. There's two words we need to know when we're talking about soil. One is the word organic, one is the word inorganic. You might have heard the word organic or seen it as a grocery store or talking about food stuff. That's kind of a different definition of organic. In this class, when I say the word organic, what I mean is something that came from a living thing. That's what organic means. It doesn't have to be a living thing as long as its molecules were created by a living thing. More on that in a minute. The opposite of organic is inorganic, something that came from a non-living thing. Its molecules were made not by living things, but by non-living things. So, some good examples of inorganic stuff. Rocks are inorganic. Water is inorganic. I mean, we need it to live, but it's not alive. That's not how it works. So water is not a living thing, it's inorganic. The air that we breathe, our atmosphere, is inorganic. Organic material is stuff that came from a living thing. Like in this picture, you see a lot of plants. Now, the organic is not the same as being alive. See these dead leaves down at the bottom? They're dead leaves. They're not living anymore, but they're still organic because they were created by a living thing. When something dies, it is still considered organic stuff. So even though this used to be alive, it's not alive anymore. It's organic. This is important to know. So let's take a look at these three things. Organic or inorganic? A cat, a tree, a dead mouse. They're all organic. Even the dead mouse is organic. It used to be alive. What about things like metal or oxygen or glass? Are they organic or inorganic? They're inorganic because they came from non-living things. What about some other stuff like a yellow wooden pencil? See, to me, I see the wood and I know that the wood of the pencil is organic because the wood came from a tree. But then I see the metal or I see the graphite in the lead, and those things didn't come from a living thing. The desk you're working at right now, more than likely, it's mostly made of wood, but there's also some metal parts to it. So, is the desk organic or inorganic? Well, sometimes it's okay to say both. A pencil or a desk, they have a couple parts that are organic and a couple parts that are inorganic. Some things came from living things, some things came from non living things. Soil is going to be the same way. When we look at soil today, we need to look at its ingredients, and some of its ingredients are organic and some are inorganic. Soil's a mix of both, and we're going to start with the inorganic stuff. So you see, this picture was on Study Island. You see sand, you see silt, you see clay. All three of these things are fancy words for little pieces of rock. Sand, silt, and clay all came from rock. Pieces of sand are pretty small. Silt is even smaller than that. If I had just dried silt on the table, it would feel kind of like flour or cornstarch. Clay are the smallest particles of all. Clay particles are so small that I can't really see them by themselves. I have to stick them all together. And if you've ever played with clay in like an art class or on your own, that's made of tiny, 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 tiny pieces of rock, the smallest pieces of rock. And that's why when they stick together, they make a wet, gummy mass. So things that come from rock are all inorganic. These three ingredients are inorganic ingredients. But if I just mixed a bunch of sand and silt and clay together, that's not just what soil is. Soil is also like dead and decaying things. In this picture, you see that soil, like this soil is dark brownish, blackish. It looks like it's holding some water. It looks like it's wet. It looks like it has some worms in it. And over here, you see that some of these vegetables, if you look back here, they're all black and gross and decaying. There's one more ingredient to soil. You've got your sand, your silt, and your clay. Those are inorganic. But then you have this humus. No, it's not hummus. Hummus is a bean dip that you eat with chips. This is humus. And humus is a mixture of dead and decaying plants and animals. It's usually like a dark black or dark brown color. And that's especially what gives soil its smell, because you can smell that decaying organic matter, and that's the soil smell. Anything that used to be alive is still organic. So this is the organic ingredient. In the second video, we're going to get into how soil is created. So right now, you guys have what the ingredients are. Flipped your paper to the back. You haven't finished the whole front yet, and that's okay. And in the second video, we're going to go into more detail about how the soil is made.